Hey everyone. So I've been digging deep into this whole situation with transnational crime networks operating in Thailand, and honestly, what I found is pretty shocking. I mean, we all knew something was going on, but the scale of this thing is way bigger than most people realize. Let me break it down for you because the mainstream media isn't telling you the full story. So first off, let me be clear. I'm not here to bash all Chinese people. Most of them are totally normal tourists and business folks just trying to live their lives. But there are these criminal organizations that have been growing, and it's getting out of hand. The Thai authorities are finally starting to crack down, but man, some of these operations are insane. Let's start with the big fish, the cryptocurrency scams. Just last month, Thai police busted this massive operation in Pattaya. We're talking about a group that allegedly defrauded over $200 million from victims across Asia. These guys had this whole setup: luxury condos, fake trading platforms, the works. They were targeting mostly Chinese and Taiwanese investors, promising crazy returns on crypto investments. The operation involved like 50 people, and when the cops raided their compound, they found servers, fake documents, and get this, they even had their own call center with scripts in multiple languages. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's this thing called pig butchering scams that's been exploding. Basically, these criminal groups recruit people, often through deceptive means, and force them to work in these romance scam operations. They spend months building fake relationships with victims online, then convince them to invest in fake crypto platforms. The Thai police have been finding these compounds all over the place: Chonburi, Rayong, even up in Chiang Mai. The human trafficking angle is probably the darkest part of this whole thing. These criminal organizations are reportedly bringing people from Myanmar, Cambodia, and other countries to Thailand, and forcing them into labor in these scam operations. Reports indicate harsh conditions and serious abuse. The Royal Thai Police rescued over 300 people from just one compound in Tak province last year. The victims had allegedly been held for months, working 16-hour days running phone scams. Now, let's talk about the underground gambling scene, because this is where things get really wild. Bangkok and Pattaya have become like the Vegas of unlicensed gaming operations for high rollers. These aren't your typical back alley poker games. We're talking about multi-million-dollar operations with VIP rooms, private jets bringing in players, and connections to organized crime syndicates. The police raided this place in Thonglor last year. It looked like a 5-star hotel from the outside, but inside it was this massive casino operation. They had baccarat tables, poker rooms, even sports betting. The crazy part? They were processing over $10 million in bets per month. The operation was run by organized crime groups with links abroad, including Hong Kong and Macau. What's really interesting is how sophisticated these criminal networks have become. They're not just random criminals. These are organized syndicates with hierarchies, territories, and specializations. The Thai authorities have identified at least 7 major transnational criminal organizations operating in the country. Each group has its own focus. Some do crypto scams, others run gambling operations, and some specialize in suspicious financial activities. The money laundering operations are particularly clever. These groups have figured out how to use Thailand's banking system and cryptocurrency exchanges to process questionable funds from all over Asia. They'll bring in cash from various illegal activities, run it through fake businesses in Thailand, convert it to crypto, and then send it to accounts in Singapore or Hong Kong. The amounts we're talking about are staggering. The Anti-Money Laundering Office estimates that transnational criminal groups processed over $2 billion through Thailand last year alone. One of the biggest busts happened in Phuket earlier this year. The police arrested 89 people in a coordinated raid across multiple locations. This group was running what they called a one-stop crime shop. They had crypto scams, unlicensed gambling, suspicious financial activities, and even a fake passport operation all under one roof. The leader was this guy who went by Dragon. Turns out he was wanted by Interpol for crimes in 5 different countries. The fake passport and document forgery operations are another huge problem. These criminal groups have gotten really good at creating false identities for their members. They'll use stolen Thai ID cards, create fake passports, even forge visa stamps. This makes it incredibly difficult for law enforcement to track them down. The Immigration Bureau found that over 500 foreign nationals were living in Thailand under false identities just in the past year. But here's where it gets really concerning. there have been allegations of corruption involving officials. There have been several reported cases where crime bosses allegedly offered improper payments to police officers, immigration officials, and even local politicians. Last year, 3 Thai police officers were arrested in connection with allegations of corruption involving a gambling operation in exchange for advance warning about raids. The violence associated with these groups is also escalating. There have been several serious incidents linked to disputes between different criminal factions. In Pattaya, there was this incident where 2 rival groups got into an armed confrontation outside a karaoke bar over territory disputes. The incident resulted in casualties, and it turned out both groups were involved in crypto scamming operations. What's really concerning is how these groups recruit new members. They're targeting young people who are struggling financially, offering them jobs in Thailand with good pay. Once these people arrive, they find out they're trapped in criminal operations. The recruiters use social media, especially platforms popular with young people like Xiaohongshu and Douyin, to find potential victims. The Thai authorities have been stepping up their game, though. They've created this special task force called the Transnational Crime Coordination Center that focuses specifically on international criminal organizations. They've been working with various law enforcement agencies, and honestly, the cooperation has been pretty good despite political tensions. Some of the recent operations have been really impressive. Just 2 months ago, they conducted simultaneous raids in Bangkok, Pattaya, and Chiang Mai, arresting over 150 people connected to a massive phone scam operation. This group was calling people pretending to be police officers, telling them their bank accounts had been compromised, and then stealing their money. They were making thousands of calls per day and had allegedly stolen over $50 million. The technology these criminals use is also getting more sophisticated. They're using encrypted messaging apps, VPNs to hide their locations, and even AI voice cloning to make their scams more convincing. The police found one operation that was using deepfake technology to create fake video calls with victims' family members to make ransom demands more believable. Now, all of this criminal activity is having a massive impact on legitimate tourism and business in Thailand. Various governments have been warning their citizens about traveling to Thailand, and honestly, some of those warnings are justified given what's been happening. But it's also being used as propaganda to keep money inside certain countries during economic difficulties. The numbers don't lie. Tourist arrivals from certain countries are down by over 60% compared to pre-pandemic levels. And it's not just because of COVID. Investment in Thai real estate has dropped by 70%. A lot of legitimate businesses are pulling out because they don't want to be associated with all this criminal activity. Now, let me get into the real meat of this. How exactly do we actually get rid of these criminal groups? Because honestly, the current approach isn't working fast enough. These organizations are persistent. You bust one operation and 3 more pop up somewhere else. First thing that needs to happen is a complete overhaul of the visa and immigration system. Right now, it's too easy for these criminals to get into Thailand and stay here. The tourist visa system has significant weaknesses. You can get a 60-day visa on arrival, extend it, do a visa run to Cambodia, and you're back for another 60 days. These criminal groups have been exploiting this system for years. What Thailand needs is a proper background check system that actually works. I'm talking about real-time database sharing with various authorities, Interpol, and other international law enforcement agencies. Every single person applying for a visa should be screened against criminal databases. Yeah, it'll slow down the process, but honestly, that's a price worth paying to keep these criminals out. The elite visa program is another massive loophole that needs to be closed immediately. For 600,000 baht, basically anyone can get a 5-year visa with minimal background checks. Several of these crime bosses have allegedly been using elite visas to establish themselves in Thailand. The program needs either much stricter screening or should be suspended entirely until they can figure out how to prevent criminals from using it. But here's the thing, even if you tighten up the borders, you still have to deal with the criminals who are already here. And that's where things get really complicated because these groups have embedded themselves deep into Thai society. They own businesses, properties, have local relationships, some even have Thai children. You can't just round them all up and deport them without proper legal processes. What Thailand needs is a specialized anti-organized crime unit with serious resources and authority. I'm talking about something like specialized organized crime task forces, but specifically focused on transnational criminal groups. This unit should have the power to conduct long-term investigations, use undercover operations, and coordinate with international law enforcement. The financial angle is probably the most effective way to hit these groups where it hurts. These criminals are all about the money, so if you can cut off their financial networks, you can cripple their operations. Thailand needs to implement much stricter anti-money laundering regulations, especially for cryptocurrency exchanges and money transfer services. Every crypto exchange operating in Thailand should be required to implement Know Your Customer procedures that actually work. Right now, you can open accounts with fake documents and start moving millions of dollars around with minimal oversight. The Bank of Thailand needs to implement strict measures on this and impose serious penalties on exchanges that don't comply. Real estate is another major avenue for suspicious financial activities that needs to be addressed. These criminal groups have been buying up condos and houses to park their illegal profits. Thailand should implement beneficial ownership disclosure requirements for all property purchases above a certain threshold. If you can't prove the source of your money, you shouldn't be able to buy property. The corruption issue is probably the biggest challenge, though. As long as these criminal groups can allegedly buy protection from officials, they'll always have an advantage. Thailand needs to implement serious anti-corruption measures with real teeth. I'm talking about mandatory asset declarations for all government officials, regular integrity checks for law enforcement personnel, and severe penalties for anyone caught in misconduct. One thing that could really help is implementing a witness protection program. Right now, people who could provide information about these criminal groups are too scared to come forward because they face serious risks. A proper witness protection program could encourage more people to cooperate with law enforcement. Technology could also play a huge role in fighting these groups. Thailand should invest in advanced surveillance systems, data analytics capabilities, and artificial intelligence tools that can help identify criminal networks and track their activities. The police need access to the same kind of technology that these criminals are using. International cooperation is absolutely crucial. Thailand can't fight these transnational criminal groups alone. There needs to be much closer cooperation with various law enforcement agencies, even if political relationships are complicated. These criminals are enemies of multiple countries, so there should be common ground for cooperation. The extradition process also needs to be streamlined. Right now, it can take years to extradite a criminal, and during that time, they often escape or continue their operations. There should be fast-track extradition procedures for serious crimes like human trafficking and large-scale fraud. But here's something most people don't think about. You also need to address the demand side of these criminal operations. A lot of these scams work because there are people seeking quick profits who think they can get rich quick. There needs to be better education about financial scams and stricter regulations on investment schemes. The gambling issue is particularly tricky because there's clearly demand for it among wealthy tourists. Maybe Thailand should consider legalizing and regulating casino gambling instead of driving it underground where criminals can control it. If you have legal regulated casinos, it's much harder for criminal groups to operate unlicensed gambling operations. Another approach that could work is going after the infrastructure that these criminal groups depend on. They need office space, internet connections, banking services, and transportation. If you can make it difficult for them to access these basic services, you can disrupt their operations. Landlords who rent to these criminal groups should face serious penalties. Banks that process suspicious transactions should lose their licenses. Internet service providers should be required to monitor for suspicious activity. Make it so expensive and risky to support these criminal groups that legitimate businesses won't want to deal with them. The legal system also needs to be reformed to deal with these complex international crimes. Judges and prosecutors need specialized training on financial crimes and organized crime. The penalties for these crimes need to be severe enough to actually deter criminals. Right now, the risk-reward calculation is way too favorable for the criminals. One idea would be to create special economic crimes courts that only handle these types of cases. These courts could have judges with specialized expertise and streamlined procedures for dealing with complex financial evidence. This could speed up prosecutions and improve conviction rates. Asset forfeiture laws also need to be strengthened. When these criminals are caught, the government should be able to seize all their assets, not just the ones directly connected to specific crimes. If you can't explain where your wealth came from, it should be presumed to be proceeds of crime. The rehabilitation and reintegration of victims is another important aspect that often gets overlooked. Many of the people involved in these criminal operations are actually victims of human trafficking who were forced to participate. These people need support and protection, not just deportation back to countries where they might face persecution. Public awareness campaigns could also help. Many people don't realize how sophisticated these criminal operations have become. If more people were aware of the warning signs, they could report suspicious activity to authorities. Community involvement is crucial for fighting organized crime. The bottom line is that getting rid of these criminal groups is going to require a comprehensive, multifaceted approach. It's not enough to just arrest a few people here and there. You need to attack the problem from every angle: legal, financial, technological, and social. It's going to take time, resources, and political will, but it can be done if Thailand is serious about cleaning up its act. The question is whether the Thai government has the courage to implement these tough measures, even if it means short-term economic pain. Because let's be honest, some of these reforms will make it harder for legitimate businesses and tourists too. But in the long run, cleaning up Thailand's reputation and making it a safer place will benefit everyone.